Hey, this is Amanda Elo'esh, speaking to all of you undercover goddesses. I'm here with this week's Goddess Emerging inspiration for activating your superpowers and becoming the goddess, the priestess, the superstar that you always knew you were, but didn't seem to have that reflection coming to you from the outside world. And I wanted to talk to you today a little bit about what a priestess is and share with you a little bit about my priestess path. And there's been a lot of women calling themselves priestesses, which I think is really great because using that word was very, very edgy not too long ago. It didn't really get a lot of support, and also I don't think a lot of people really understood what it meant enough to even really use that word effectively. But a lot of women are using it now, and I think it's great. And I also think that there's a lot of use of that word to kind of sound cool, or like you have some kind of power, or I don't know. There's been a lot of ego used with that word, and I just wanted to share my personal perspective on what a priestess is. And there are a lot of qualities that a priestess embodies. She is present. She is aware of very subtle energy frequencies. She's aware of where there is attention needed. She can bring a sense of ceremony and depth to any circumstance that she's in. Her presence can help people to drop out of that monkey mind, scattered thinking, and drop into the heart and into the belly and ground in and drop into a place of deep connection. She can help the divine essence of the self emerge through her presence and through her objective, non-subjective reflection. The biggest, and she's also a channel for the divine. She can look at what's happening in the world, look at symbols. She's an oracle reader, and she can decipher what the communication is from the holy. And she's a mouthpiece for the holy. She's a channel for the divine. And she's a temple keeper. She makes places beautiful. They don't just look beautiful, they have a feel to them. This temple that I'm sitting in right now, it has a great sense of peace to it. And if you were to walk in here, even with your eyes closed, you would feel a shift in your energy. And that's because there are temple priestesses, including myself, who keep this space sacred. And how do you keep something sacred? Well, a priestess knows how because she's tuned in and listening to the holy. And I think that the best description of a priestess for me, or the biggest definition of a priestess, all those are great qualities, but those are qualities that a lot of people can have and bring into their work as a corporate executive, as a mother, as a nurse. But what really defines a priestess for me is that she is in full devotion. She is in devotion not to her bank account. She's not in devotion to her reputation. She's not in service to her lifestyle or even her relationships, except for the holy. She is in deep, committed service and devotion to the holy. And that means putting aside serving the ego, doing things so that people will see you as a priestess. So that means more than just lip service, more than just calling yourself a priestess, and maybe even not using the word priestess. I think it's great, like I said, to use it because it's breaking down old walls and old defenses against the divine feminine. It's not that the word is bad, it's that it gets used to serve the ego, and it gets used as like a spin on, somebody's public persona to make them seem more alluring or more magical. But what really makes somebody a priestess is being that embodied service And that's the biggest piece of wisdom that came through, is that many of the archetypes I work with and talk about, sometimes it feels like they are out here in the ethers and we can embody elements of them and call them through us. But they're kind of like, when we think about them, when I think about them, they're kind of floating out there in the ethers, in those divine ascended realms. But the priestess, the only way she exists is through our embodiment of her, through our service, through our stepping up and knowing how to respond to somebody in need, and knowing how to care for a space so that it is a sacred space and not just a beautiful room. So the deep lying definition in that is being of service, being in devotion to the holy. And so that means letting go, again, of your ego, your personal needs, your personal desires, and being available to what the holy asks of us. And for me personally, doing that has been nothing but nourishing to my life. I live in a beautiful home. This beautiful temple is available to me to teach the sacred feminine mysteries. I get to be a temple keeper, but it's not because of what I've done to serve my reputation, but because what I've done to be of service to the holy. And so let go of the ego. Basically, let go of the ego. Ask what you can do to be of best service. And there are a lot of ways that people try to be helpful that still serve the ego. It still serves parts of the self that feel like they're not good enough and they have to take care of everybody and everything to be worthy. That's not being a priestess either. And to know the difference, you have to know yourself. And so one of the basic practices of a priestess is some kind of meditation in internally focused practice, so that you do get to know yourself and you can differentiate between what of this is my ego and what of this is truly the holy, and how do I empty myself out if I don't know myself? It's impossible to do. So it's a long practice, and it's always refined. It's never perfected. The priestess is about the beauty way. She makes things beautiful, but again, not for the surface, not just to look good, but her attention is to making something sacred. So cleaning the temple, making the altar beautiful, making all of the items on the altar respected and honored through the way that she interacts with them, through the way that she places them, her attention to what symbols, what memories, what ancient seeds of our forgotten lineages is she awakening through the symbols that she puts on the altar. What parts of the self that have gone to sleep is she waking up and activating through her presence and her reflection and her words. So that for me is being a priestess. And many of you have asked me about my priestess path, but we're already kind of getting long on this video. I will share more about my priestess path next time. And until then, may the source be with you. If you are watching this and you're not on my website, get on over there, amandaeloesh.com. Check it out. And if you like what you've heard today, then sign up for my newsletters, because I frequently offer free things and tips and insights that you don't get anywhere else except for on those newsletters. So sign up. It's easy. If you change your mind, it's easy to unsubscribe. And again, until next week, may the presence of the priestess and the source be with you.